If you're like going to work on the metro, you just know that all these people, you see them once and you will never see them again. It's not the case in Israel. Like you always like meet someone else on the streets.
You're from Russia and she's from Ukraine.
Yeah.
How was it navigating these relationships?
You were hit by a car,
Yes.
which
It's
unfortunately...
not funny. What do you love most about living here?
For me personally, obviously freedom, comparing to where I'm from. We managed to make like 1,000 rides. Was like, imagine like a car fully packed, like with like either equipment or food or water or mattresses or people, yeah. And drivers going to crazy places across all Israel. You know, it was insane.
Welcome back to Yalla, Let's Go, the podcast that Erica and I started to talk about Aliyah, to remind ourselves why we moved here and talk to really interesting people about why they chose to live here. We talk to people that work in tech, venture capital, chefs, athletes. We meet some doctors, anyone that's here.
Teachers?
Teachers. There's tons of stories. And today we're super excited to talk to Daniil Chernov and hear his story. But before we do that, Erica, pulse check. How are you feeling about living in Israel right now?
Right now, I am really, really happy because it's summer here. The sky is blue every day. The sun is shining every day. It is hot and I love it. It's like summer vibe. My kids are out of school. It's like beach time, pool time. There's no more homework, no more making lunches. It's just like such a summer vibe in Israel and I love it.
Yes, this is why we're here.
Yeah. No more New York winters for us.
No more winters, no more snow. I will take the hot weather. Okay, I'm excited to jump in today and welcome Daniil Chernov. Worked at some of the biggest companies in Israel, made Aliyah from Russia, and has also created a really impressive social movement. Daniil, welcome to Yalla.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. All right, the challenge. Tell us your life story in less than a minute.
Okay. Born in Russia, lived in a small city near Moscow. I studied theoretical physics, understood that it's too theoretical, I need something practical. Moved to like tech, and then got married, and then we made Aliyah 8 years ago from Russia to here. I live in Tel Aviv with my wife, with our cat, and yeah, just doing what I can in this life.
I think you're the only person that's ever done it that quickly and gave us really good information.
It's really hard.
So you made Aliyah while you were already working for Gett
Right.
from Moscow in 2018. Why did you decide to move here?
Okay. So basically, yeah, back then Gett had a large like operations in Russia. It was like a really big market, you know, when Uber only started and stuff like that. When I joined Gett in Russia, I didn't know it's Israeli, by the way. I only learned about it when I saw like names of the rooms in Hebrew in the office. Like it was like Russian, English, Hebrew. I was like, wait a minute. I went to like Wikipedia and then I found out we wanted to experience living abroad from Russia. And Israel was like an option. I have an uncle who lives here for a long time and like some relatives as well. And working in Israeli company helped a lot. Like I have a lot of respect for people who move like without any job and like search for a job here. I'm not sure I would be able to do that. So yeah, my Aliyah was like, I call it golden Aliyah, really smooth.
But you said that even though you had a job, it was very chaotic when you first got here.
Yeah, so like first of all, like I understood also that for me and for my wife, it was really different because when I moved basically on the second day I was in the office, everyone speaks English to me. I know the company, I know the data of the company, I know people. So it was really like an oasis of like something familiar in fully like unfamiliar environment. And years after, I learned that my wife didn't have that, and like we actually lived like really different experiences in parallel. Which was like, I should have noticed it faster. I didn't realize until some point is that even though I had a job, I didn't know anyone, let's call it like my peers from the industry, let's call it this way. Because like obviously at home, I have my like people I studied together with, my co-workers, and then, you know, they spread across the country and the market and you know people everywhere. And here I didn't have such people.
Okay, so Daniil, you talked about your Aliyah as like a golden Aliyah because you moved with Gett. But on the other hand, and you just said this, that the people that you knew in Israel were only at Gett. And that's a kind of specific kind of loneliness. How did you manage that?
Actually, it was like a very specific moment when I understood that. Back then, it was like years of crazy, tech boom in Israel. Every company was hiring like crazy, and we had a lot of open positions, and we were not able to quickly close them. So basically, the company did what's called LinkedIn party, where basically there is like a meeting for everyone in the company. You just sit in the room, you open a laptop, and they have like a list of positions, and you need to like put people who are relevant for this position so that they can reach out to them, which is very cool. And then like I was looking at like positions with our developer, designer, analyst, and I understood like every person I want to put there already worked in this company. So like I don't know anyone who didn't work at this company.
You launched Reboot Startup Nation the day before Russia invaded Ukraine.
Exactly.
What were you trying to build before?
Yeah, so we were thinking about this with Katerina from our cohort in Nevo. I'm from Russia, she's from Ukraine, and we understood that like the value of Nevo and like knowing Olim from different countries and being able to discuss things, it's insane. So we understood that we need to somehow share it broader, and we wanted like to build a community for Russian-speaking Olim who are already here. Right, and because the community was like very, what's like the word, isolated. Like people don't really. One of the main kind of values or like goals of the previous waves of Aliyah from Soviet Union and from Russia was like integrate into like Hebrew-speaking society as soon as possible and like detach from like your Russian community. This is basically a thing. So that's why a lot of the like community of like Russian Olim are fully in Hebrew. So like somebody who makes Aliyah can't get any value from it. So our goal was like to create such community in Russian for tech people who are already in Israel. This was the goal. And when we launched, next day the war started, and basically we thought, okay, it's irrelevant pretty much anymore. For some reason we thought this way, and then we got a lot of like our friends reaching out to us because they want to urgently make Aliyah. So I understood, okay, we need to basically pivot from like current people who are already here to like accept new people, and we joined forces with Sofia Tupolev, with Ariel and Aviv, who were doing a similar thing because of war in parallel. So we joined forces, which was amazing. We just text each other, let's do it together, Yalla, let's do it together. And
It's powerful.
yeah, it was insane. And basically our focus was to bring as much knowledge and connections to them, just to help them understand how the market works, how to find a job here. Not only job, actually it was everything, how to rent an apartment and everything. And yeah.
Okay, so in the immediate aftermath of October 7th, there were hard days for everyone. And I think there were a lot of people who felt lost and they didn't know what to do or how to help. I think you and I had that conversation. And instead of staying lost, you kind of within a day or two tried to figure out how to create impact. I think now it feels like a thing you do. And you turned to this community you had built. And you created something super valuable, Israel Delivery Aid. Can you talk a little bit about the feeling and then how you figured out how to create it and what it was?
Yeah, so my initial idea was, okay, I have like thousands of tech people, developers, whatever, product managers, cyber people. I need to find like a place where we can apply us as like tech people. So I was like talking to all of the like cyber initiatives. There were like a lot of cyber activities happening, if you remember, like
Yes.
crazy like messages that you receive, and it was insane. And then Gili from Nevo also, she like organized this whole task force because she was in States, if I remember correctly, of like bringing like equipment to soldiers, like all of like knee pads and like shlukerim and like all of this like lights.
A word you might not have had
flashlights.
8 years ago, shlukerim.
Shlukerim, yeah, that's how I learned, yeah. And basically they were like, they mobilized like a lot of people who were like flying to Israel to bring like all of this stuff. And the last problem that they had is like, okay, now somebody flew from Israel with like 3 huge bags of this stuff. So like how do we deliver it actually to the brother of this guy, or like to like whatever father of this guy, and so on. And basically that's how we understood that like basically we can just be drivers. Like we can just take a car and just like drive it. It's like not very much a tech type of volunteering. But so like I made the post like, hey guys, we need someone like to whatever deliver stuff. Like if you wanna participate, please sign up in this form. First, like we had like also like a team of volunteers who were like contacting other organizations who needed like to deliver food, to like evacuate people, and like to deliver like stuff to soldiers and so on. So like, and then the tech part, basically we had also like a tech team who were basically automating all of this, like taking requests, sending them to drivers, like putting them a map, you need to go from here to here, all of the like status. So basically they build an app, so to say, to operate. And we managed to deliver to make like 1,000 rides. Was like, imagine like a car fully packed, like with like either equipment or food or water or mattresses or people, yeah, and drivers going to crazy places across all Israel. And we had like funny situations when like somebody was like looking for a driver, and then like the one Israeli guy who needed help, he calls me back like, who are you sending me? They have like these beards and they look like Arabs, like they will like, I'm scared, like give me someone else, like what can I do? Like this guy, he's Russian, like he doesn't even speak, like so they were really afraid of bearded people back then. But yeah, and yeah, I'm amazed by these people who like really sacrificed a lot of like hours of their time and really went to not safe places, yeah.
So you built this Reboot organization with your friend Katerina. You're from Russia and she's from Ukraine.
Yeah.
How was it navigating these relationships when both of your countries are at war with each other? You have people making Aliyah from different places that you're helping come from different backgrounds.
So yeah, so first of all, like she's been great, and I have like part of my family is from Ukraine, part from Russia, and it's like actually pretty much frequent case, obviously because of bordering countries and the Soviet like past. I would say like between us it was amazing, and like we have a total understanding, which I did not expect. Like I'm not taking it for granted, and but the harder part was like navigating this inside the community, because people were really stressed, and sometimes in the beginning we had some like heated discussions. Basically, like what I saw is that these discussions are never to reach any kind of understanding or agreement. It's basically somebody going crazy and like being aggressive, and it was like I was really talking to people, like I was like, if someone was like writing crazy stuff, I would sometimes text them in person or maybe just call them, listen, hey, like what are you doing? And I understood that like usually like those people who became like aggressive, they were not trying to help anyone, trying to help themselves. They were just like being aggressive. So it's something that we had to like cut in the beginning. But I have to say that maximum like I had to maybe ban like 5 people out of 14,000. I think it's pretty good.
So you've been living here for 8 years. You've generated a ton of impact in the time that you've been in Israel, and you've achieved quite a lot, even though you were an immigrant here and you didn't grow up here. You've said before that you feel actually that you have more influence and ability to influence and create impact in Israel than you ever did in Russia. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's definitely the case. I mean, there are many reasons for it. First of all, like even general level of freedom and democracy and stuff like that. Second is it's a very small country. People know each other. People care about other people. Like let's say typical situation in Moscow, like you walk somewhere, you just know for sure you will never see these people ever again in your life. Like if you're like going to work on the metro, you just know that all of these people, you see them once and you will never see them again. It's not the case in Israel. Like you always like meet someone else on the streets who you met before. Work, like job market, I'm not even talking about it. Like better be good and behave well and have a good
Or else.
reputation. Yeah.
You'll see them on the
So
street.
yeah, and people are very open to like help each other. Like when I was starting in the community, even I didn't know how to do it, and back then it was at Wix, and there was a guy who was like doing a large, like he's like a community builder. Like I never knew him and I never talked to him, so just texting him, I think even on LinkedIn, not even like inside the company, I said, hey, I'm building this community. We had like we just started, or maybe we even didn't start yet, Like, can you give me like some advice? He just like send me phone number, call me. So like I'm calling him, he's like, okay, what you need to do, you need to reach 50 people. Once you reach 50 people, this is like real community. And then you like, so now I'm remembering, it's crazy. So like he didn't knew me, he just say, okay, call me. So like this is a thing that's possible here, it happens here, and it allows you to do basically whatever you want. Like once you have a need, you have people with you who care about the same need. So basically you can just do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked about a couple of things that have been true Israeli experiences. We've talked about war, we've talked about building community, we've talked about influence. You were hit by a car,
Yes.
which
It's
unfortunately
not funny.
it's not funny, but it's way more common.
Yeah.
And the reason why I will never let any of my children have an electric bike or scooter in this country, because I'm so afraid of this reality. Can you talk us through it a little bit, and then kind of how the healthcare system responded?
Yeah. So yeah, I was using an electric scooter to go to work and so on, which is super convenient because you don't care about the, like one line roads and like a lot of cars, and it's like it just was faster. It was a little bit crazy every time like I was on the road. I'm like, wow, this is like, if I'm honest, it's risky. But basically what happened, it wasn't anything natural to the, how you use a corkinet and electric scooter. It was just someone being a bad driver and like not using like the signals and just like hitting me basically while turning, and I like flew over the car. I like fell. Somebody called an ambulance and they like came really quickly, by the way. And yeah, so I went to Shiba, like to the hospital. And finally, okay, an important piece of information. It was in the time of protests. It was the day of protest in Jerusalem, where for the first time, doctors went to protest, okay? So I was like going on a corkinet and I was like, wow, this is a very interesting like philosophical question. Like, can a doctor go in the working time to protest? Yeah, they need to be able to exercise their like democratic freedoms, but also, people's lives and health is like what they're doing. So it's a very interesting dilemma. And I'm getting hit by a car. So like,
Stop having deep thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. So they did like an x-ray, and the guy basically says, take off your like ring, you're getting like a surgery right now. I'm like, what's happening? But then he said, okay, we don't have an orthoped to make you surgery, so you need to wait for like 1 week. And I'm like in pain, like, what do you mean to wait 1 week? It's kind of crazy. And by the way, important anecdote, like while on ambulance, I was really in pain, and the two like was like the
Medics?
paramedics,
Yeah.
they were like really not seeing me at all, because there were like a guy and a girl, and they were really interested in the discussion. And like the guy was like a medical kind of masseur, like a student from UK, and she's like local, and they were having the time of their life. And I'm like, I'm really in pain here. So
Like, I hope this works out.
yeah. So what happened after? So I was like, okay, 1 week is kind of crazy. And so my manager from work calls me. He says, hey, like, how can we help? And I'm like being very honest and straightforward. Like, honestly, I don't know, like, what else can I do? Like, how can I get the surgery done? Because like they told me to wait 1 week, and it's kind of crazy. It's okay, I'll find you like a private whatever doctor. So like he comes back in a few minutes. Okay, so like I asked around. Obviously, he had someone to ask around about a doctor, and any random doctor. Like, this guy is really good. Like, call them. So like I called for like a private hospital, and because I had like a work insurance from work that actually doesn't cost a lot in Israel. Like, if it wouldn't be from work, it would be like 100 shekels a month or something. But it was like from work also, and they told me, okay, come. I came. They saw me. They said 1 week. So like nobody just could make it in the moment, so I had to wait for 1 week, which was like crazy week. But then yeah,
What did you break?
it was like something in my shoulder, like it's called ACJ, acromioclavicular joint, and yeah, so they had to make a surgery, and I did it in Rafael, which is like a super posh clinic with like hotel like experience, crazy stuff. Yeah, so I had like 2 surgeries. First, they put like a metal thing inside.
So, you said that you guys came here because you were interested in living abroad and moving internationally. And I wonder, Would you consider leaving Israel? Is there anything keeping you here? Would you go back to Russia? Would you move somewhere else?
Go back to Russia, no. Even if, it like becomes democratic, which is unlikely, like we just understand that it's really not kind of our place culturally and by many reasons. Somewhere else potentially, like it's something that we're like thinking about as well. Israel, Israel is a very special place. Like you can't really compare it, make an Excel table with like qualities of countries and just compare. Like you just can't do this by many reasons, like people and like, just the fact that Israel is a special country in many senses. It has problems. So yeah.
Your wife, Ksusha, yes, the amazingly talented, gorgeous musician, she's facing different challenges here. Yes. Does that lead you guys sometimes to think about leaving?
So yeah, she's a musician. She's writing songs. She's on Spotify, whatever, find her. And from Ksusha. And so when she moved, she was like really, she had like a band in Russia. She was like doing like local concerts and stuff. So this is what she wanted to do here. First challenge was like really hard to find people to do music with, because you need not only just, you don't, like in tech, you just need a good developer, like a developer in your stack. In music, you need someone who like understands your vibe, has the same taste in music. It's like so many things. It's like, it's a miracle when there is a band, like it's really a miracle how people find each other. So it was really hard. She started doing like it's solo, and then eventually she understood she needs to go like be independent and online. So like this is like what she's doing now, basically doing it online. And indeed there is like pretty much no market for like non-Mizrahi music in Israel. So if you sing Mizrahi, okay, weddings, concerts, whatever, you can do it. If you sing like English language kind of whatever indie music, no market for it. So yeah, internet is the market.
So what do you love most about living here?
For me personally, obviously freedom. Comparing to where I'm from, I'm not taking it for granted. It's really big deal, and it's really different. People like there are different people here, but somehow it's like commonly understood and accepted that like you need to care about each other, you need to be available to other people. Everyone lives close. If you live in central, we don't live in central Tel Aviv, but if you would live in central Tel Aviv, you would constantly meet people, which is like, I think, very special. And when my friends go to, let's say, back to Russia to meet their family, they say, wow, like in Israel, I have so much to do and I don't need to pay for it. I just like hang out with people, I go to the sea. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question without pressure, but I feel like you better have a good answer.
Okay.
Your number one piece of advice for people who are considering or just made Aliyah?
I would say learn Hebrew. Like you should have at least some level of, you need to, of course, at minimum, you need to be able to know the alphabet and being able to read at least. Even if you don't understand what you're reading, it helps. But the more you know, the better. Like it really makes your life much more stressful in the beginning.
How's your Hebrew?
Now it's Ani Mistader. Now it's better. Like I don't work in Hebrew. I work in English mostly. I am able to like listen, like to be like in the listening mode. But yesterday I had like a full call with like an insurance agent about whatever they were asking some questions, and I didn't have to switch to English, which is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, right now I'm like very comfortable with my Hebrew, even though I don't work in Hebrew.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Well,
Where just give us one word, very fast
You can
answers.
do this.
What is your favorite Israeli food or snack?
anything in tortilla, something tortilla with entrecote, this type of stuff.
Favorite place in Israel?
Let's say like a sea, the place like near Jaffa where you just see the sea.
What's your favorite Hebrew word or slang?
A lot. I would say Tachles. Yeah, being to the point and business-wise, yeah.
Thing that you miss most about Moscow?
Family, friends, nothing particular about like the city or like the country itself, yeah.
Tell us an only in Israel moment in one sentence.
I think the very Israeli moment is when in Ulpan, when you study Hebrew, they ask you "Mi ze Yehudi?" and you have this like discussion who is Jewish, and like the fact that it's kind of an open question is insane.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Daniil,
It was
it's a
fun.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on Yalla. We are so glad that you're here. And please share the episode and keep tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Yalla, let's go.
Yalla, let's go.